So let's talk about Willow, which is celebrating its 35th anniversary this year. Big days! Entertainment rankings and reviews. So greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Dual, better known to as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1988 high fantasy adventure flick Willow, originally released by MGM for Lucasfilm Limited, directed by Ron Howard and produced by Nigel Wool. The film was executive produced by George Lucas and written by Bob Dolman from a story by Lucas. The film stars Val Kilmer, Joanne, Whalley, Jean Marsh, and Warwick Davis as the title character, who happens to be an aspiring magician who teams up with a disaffected warrior to protect a baby princess from an evil queen. Now, Lucas conceived the idea for the film way back in '72, still a ways before doing Star Wars. He approached Howard to direct during the post-production phase of Cocoon in 1985. Dolman was brought in to write the screenplay, coming up with 7 drafts before finishing in late '86. And then it got to start filming in '87. Film was released on May 20th, 1988. Henceforth, today is the film's 35th anniversary. While the film got mixed reviews, however, it still became a cult classic. So anyway, let's get started with the story. In an unnamed fantasy world, the evil sorceress Queen Badmorda of Nockmaar hears of a prophecy that a child with a special rune birthmark will bring about her downfall. As a preventative measure, she imprisons all pregnant women in her domain. The foretold child is born, but her mother persuades the midwife to smuggle the baby out of the castle. Badmora executes the mother and sends her wolf-like Nockmaar hounds after the midwife. With the hounds closing in on her, the midwife sets the baby adrift on a grass raft in a river before succumbing to the hounds. Meanwhile, Badmora sends her daughter Sorsha and an army led by General Kale to hunt down the baby. Some distance downriver, a village of Nellen, which is a race of dwarfs, prepares for a festival. The baby is found by the children of farmer and aspiring sorcerer Willow Upgood, and his family takes her in and comes to love her. At the festival, a Nockmaar hound arrives and attacks all the krails it finds. After the Nelwyn warriors kill it, Willow presents the baby to the village leader, the High Aldwin, as the probable reason for the dog's appearance. The High Aldwin orders the baby must return to a Dakini, which is the Nelwyn's name for tall people family. So Willow and a party of volunteers set out with the baby to find one. At a crossroads, they find Madmartigan, a mercenary trapped in a crow's cage, who offers to take the baby in exchange for his freedom. The majority of the Nelwyn think they should give the baby to him, but Will and his friend Migosh refuse, causing the others to abandon them and go home. After meeting Madmartigan's old comrade, Eric, on his way with an army to attack Badmora, Willow relents and agrees to Madmartigan's terms. On the way home, Willow and Migosh discover that some brownies have stolen the baby and pursue them. They are captured by them, but Fairy Queen Charlindria frees them and explains the baby is Alora Dannon, the foretold princess of Tir Asleen. She gives Willow a magic wand and sends him to find Fenrezil, an aging enchantress. Will sends Migosh home and continues the journey in the company of 2 of the brownies, Frangine and Rule. On the way, he re-encounters Madmartigan, who has disguised himself as a woman to hide from his mistress's husband, Lug. Sorsha and Kale's army arrives, but Madmartigan is revealed as a man to Lug, who starts a brawl which helps Willow and Madmartigan escape with Alora. Madmartigan seemingly reluctantly leads Willow to the lake where Raziel lives. They are captured soon thereafter, along with Raziel, who has been turned into a brush-tailed possum by Bevmora. Willow tries to restore her, but he turns her into a rook. Frangine accidentally doses Madmartigan with a love potion, and Madmartigan declares undying love for Sorsha, but she's skeptical. Willow's party flees, finding Eric and the remnants of his army after Badmora defeated them. When the Nockmar army pursues, Madmartigan takes Sorsha hostage, and they flee once more. However, Sorsha escapes. Willow's party arrives at Tir Asleen, only to find it cursed and overrun with trolls. Kale's army arrives, and Margan and Willow attempt to fend them off. Willow accidentally turns a troll into a two-headed Ebersisk monster with the wand, and in the chaos that ensues, Kale kidnaps Alora. Sorsha, realizing she has fallen in love with Margan, defects to his side. Eric's army arrives, but Kale, carrying Alora on horseback, rides through them and makes his way to the Nockmar castle. Badmora orders preparation of a ritual to banish Alora from the world forever. Now for the ending, as always, you know the procedure. You have 5 seconds to stop this video. Go to the description box below. Fast forward to the time below. If you've seen the movie already, please continue. Okay, you've been warned. Willow's party and Eric's army arrive at Nockmar Castle, but Badmora casts a spell to turn them all to pigs. Willow, having used the wand to protect himself, finally restores Raziel to her human form. She breaks Badmora's spell over the army, and they trick their way into the castle. Kale slays Eric, but Madmartigan avenges him as Willow, Sorsha, and Raziel confront Badmora in the ritual chamber. After a grueling fight, Badmora incapacitates Raziel and Sorsha. Willow uses sleight of hand to trick Badmora into thinking he has made Alora disappear. Badmora, unnerved, moves to attack him, but in doing so accidentally completes the ritual, banishing herself. During celebrations at the restored Tir Asleen, Willow is gifted a spell book by Raziel. Leaving Alora in the care of Madmartigan and Sorsha, Willow returns home to his village and family in triumph. End of story. So what did I think of Willow? Well, it's been a long time since I've seen this film, but after revisiting the film on Disney Plus, I must say I like it. It is pretty good and what have you. Despite it got mixed reviews long ago, but again, it became a cult classic. It did get praise for its special effects and character designs, but criticisms for its direction and plot. But that's understandable. I didn't mind. I liked how the story turned out and how much fun it turned out to be. While it might not be as popular as Lucas's other, well, Star Wars or Indiana Jones films, this still, however, was still fun. James Horner did the score for the film, and I will admit he did an amazing job on it. Definitely. Our cast includes Warwick Davis. Well, of course, this was still before he played the demonic leprechaun or Professor Flitwick in the Harry Potter franchise, played Willow. I have to say he did an excellent job. Val Kilmer, after recently appearing in Top Gun, played Madmartigan. And what can I say? He was really good. Absolutely loved this character. Joanne Whalley played Sorsha. She was very good. Jean Marsh played Badmora. Great villainess. There were 3 people who played the young Alora. Those were Kate and Ruth Greenfield and Rebecca Behrman. That's really something. 3 babies playing 1 actual baby, and that's something. Patricia Hayes plays Finn Raziel. Pretty good. Billy Barty, who most people know him best from his work on Sid and Marty Krofft's work and what have you. In one of his last few films, the following year he would appear in Weird Al Yankovic's UHF. He plays the High Aldwin. I gotta say, he did very good. Pat Roach plays Kale, and Gavin O'Hurley played Eric. And believe me, there's a host of others and what have you. I gotta say, the cast was really good. Anyway, Since its release, Lucas hoped this film would earn as much money as Spielberg's E.T., but the film faced early competition with Crocodile Dundee 2, Big, and Rambo 3 coming in the way. It wasn't the blockbuster hit insiders had anticipated. However, it became MGM's highest grossing film in Japan at the time. It opened a couple months later in July and grossed 16 million in its first 7 weeks. The film only made 57 million in the US and Canada overall, but it did better overseas, making 80 million. And so the film went on to make 137 million worldwide. It did get better, well, Lions for when it got released on home video and physical media. Now, with its reviews, Rotten Tomatoes, which has it at 53%, says state of the art special effects and an appealing performance from Warwick Davis can't quite save this film from its slow pace and generic story. Sure, the pacing is a bit slow and what have you, but again, the story may be generic, but I don't care. It was still pretty good. The New York Times praised Lucas's storytelling, but was critical of Howard's direction and said he appears to have had his hands full in simply harnessing the special effects. Understandable. Same with Siskel and Ebert give it 2 thumbs down. Yeah. The Washington Post explained Rob Reiner's similar fairy tale adventure, The Princess Bride, which came out a year before the previous year, which the cinematographer Adrian Bill also shot, managed to evoke volumes more without razzle dazzle. It's a sad thing to be faulting Lucas, maker of Star Wars trilogy and Raiders of the Lost Ark, for forgetting the tricks of entertainment. Oh well. And USA Today said that this was the rainstorm wrap up in which good edges evil is like Led Zeppelin meets the Wild Bunch. The film is probably too much for young children, possibly too much of the same for cynics. But any 6 or 13-year-old who sees this may be bitten by the movie bug for life. Again, all reviews, that's understandable. It also got nominated for a couple of Academy Awards for sound effects, editing, and visual effects, but unfortunately lost to Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which also came out the same year. But it did win Best Costume Design at the Saturn Awards, where they also nominated Warwick Davis for Best Performance by a Younger Actor, but lost to Fred Savage for Vice Versa, and Jean Marsh for Best Supporting Actress, but unfortunately lost to Sylvia Sidney for Beetlejuice. It also lost Best Fantasy Film and the Hugo Award for Best Dramatic Presentation to Roger Rabbit also. And even got nominated for 2 Razzies for Worst Screenplay, which lost to Cocktail, and Worst Supporting Actor for Billy Barty, but lost to Dan Aykroyd for Caddyshack 2. Oh well. Anyway, the film is currently available on physical media. It was originally released by MGM UA originally. Then later, it got released through Fox, who had formerly had the rights to MGM's library before Amazon got them out. But now, since this is Lucasfilm Limited who actually produced the film, it's of course under license by Disney, and they re-released the film on Blu-ray and DVD and digital for the first time in 2019. Later that same year, it would be released on Disney Plus, which you can still see. Years later, last year, we got a, a direct television series that serves as a sequel. They ended after only 8 episodes, and unfortunately, due to some issues with Disney Plus, they're planning to drop that show soon. So I haven't seen it yet, but I bear while the game's good. But overall, Willow did prove to be very good. It also went on to have some other media and what have you. There were various books and what have you. There was even a board game and even video games. Mindscape released an action game for Amiga, Atari ST, Commodore 64, and DOS in that year. The following year, Capcom released 2 games. One of them was a first was a platform adventure game for the arcade, and then later on an action RPG game for the NES, which I actually have, by the way. I'll try and review that later on. But overall, with a pretty decent story, a pretty good cast, a great score, and great characters in my view. Would I recommend Willow? I would say sure, go ahead. This may not be George Lucas's best or Ron Howard's best, but nevertheless, it still provides a fabulous set of fantasy adventure moments and all that jazz. So, what did you think of Willow? Let me know in the comments section below. If you like this video, click the like button, subscribe, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you my spoiler-free review of Fast X. So if you enjoy this, check out my reviews for these other films. In the upper left-hand corner is my spoiler-free review of Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves, which is now streaming on Paramount Plus, considering it is still playing in some theaters. In the upper right-hand corner is my review of the Chronicles of Narnia, Prince Caspian, the second installment of the Chronicles of Narnia series. Or if you would like, you can go, or if you would like some more from George Lucas, go to the bottom left-hand corner and see my complete playlist of my re-reviews of the Star Wars films. I've re-reviewed all of them last year. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. If you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.